Grey. That was the colour of existence now. Grey concrete towers clawed at the perpetually overcast sky. Grey uniforms adorned every soul, their faces etched with a blank obedience. This was the world sculpted by the Directorate, a world scrubbed clean of individuality, of dissent, of choice. Every day began and ended under the watchful gaze of the Directorate's omnipresent propaganda. Screens lining every building pulsed with messages of unity, of health, of the absolute necessity of compliance. To deviate, even in thought, was to court oblivion. But beneath the surface of this manufactured order, a current of fear ran cold and deep. The smiles felt brittle, the eyes hollow. The silence was too absolute, broken only by the rhythmic thud of boots on pavement and the drone of the city's ever-present surveillance drones. The Directorate's control was absolute, maintained through a web of surveillance and the chilling efficiency of its bio-sanctioned laws. Chief among these was the mandate of wellness, the compulsory vaccination program. Every citizen was required by law to submit to the injection. It was presented as the ultimate act of social responsibility, a safeguard against the unseen enemies of the body and the state. Refusal, however, was not merely dissent, it was biological treason, and the punishment for such treason was absolute total exclusion from the food distribution network. Starvation became the Directorate's silent weapon, a slow and agonizing death reserved for those who dared to defy the order. The very act of eating became a ritual of obedience, a daily reaffirmation of loyalty to a system that held absolute power over life and death. The true horror of the Directorate's regime lay not just in its iron grip on the physical world, but in its insidious manipulation of the mind. From the moment a child was born, they were bathed in the soothing, hypnotic hum of the Directorate's propaganda. Schools, once bastions of critical thinking, were now factories of obedience, churning out generation after generation, moulded in the image of the Directorate. Textbooks spoke of a chaotic past, a world on the brink of annihilation, saved only by the iron hand of order. The message was everywhere, seeping into the very fabric of their being, until the question of why was drowned out by the comforting drone of conformity. They were told it was for their own good, for the greater good, and in the absence of any alternative narrative they believed. Section 4. The harvest of compliance. The mandate of wellness was not merely about public health, it was a smokescreen, a brutal experiment veiled in the language of care. The injections, they claimed, were essential for immunity, for societal protection. What they didn't reveal was the sinister truth hidden beneath the surface. Each injection was a cocktail of engineered pathogens and genetic manipulators designed to subtly alter the human genome, to breed out dissent, to cultivate a population genetically predisposed to obedience. The people, unknowingly, became lab rats in the Directorate's grand experiment, their bodies and minds twisted to serve the needs of the state. The most terrifying aspect of this genetic manipulation was its insidious nature. The changes were subtle, gradual, almost imperceptible. Section 5. Whispers of dissent. Despite the all-encompassing control, whispers of dissent still flickered like dying embers in the hearts of a few. These were the ones who dared to remember a time before the grey, who clung to fragments of forbidden history, of individuality, of freedom. Their resistance was subtle, a whispered word in the dead of night, a smuggled book passed from hand to hand, a fleeting look of defiance in a sea of blank obedience. But the Directorate was ever watchful, its network of informants and surveillance drones always listening, always watching. To defy the Directorate was to invite swift and brutal retribution. The unlucky ones vanished in the night, swallowed whole by the city's underbelly, their fate a chilling reminder of the price of disobedience. Yet, even in the face of such terror, the whispers persisted, faint but unwavering, a testament to the enduring human